LeetCode problem 392. The essence of the problem and its solution is to determine whether this string here, whether the characters of this string can be found in the second string. That is, if we have A here, and if we have it here, B, and if we have it here, then so on, then we return true if the order is preserved, otherwise we return false. That's the essence of the problem. Let's still take a look at the key words we need to pay attention to. First of all, we have two strings here, S and T, and we return true if A is a subsequence of T, and false if it is not. Here, I want to draw your attention to a few very interesting key words. Here, it turns out both are about the division itself of characters. That is, in fact, we're told that we can delete some characters, for example, this character and that character, for a year, and get the answer. And when I solved this problem for the first time, that's basically how I thought about it. So, in theory, that's what you need to use, but in reality, you can solve it without actually deleting anything. And here it's very important that the order also matters. And this is what the problem statement looks like. Let's take a look at the solution itself. The solution itself looks like this. Once again, we use two pointers. We'll have a pointer. This time, one pointer will be in string number 1, and the second pointer will be in string number 2. Here, we do it like this. Index 1 and index 2, and we start a loop of loops. The idea is that we will move our pointers until one of our strings ends. And that's why, here, we have the following situation. While the pointer hasn't reached the end of the first string, as you can see, here we have the length of the first string. And while pointer 2, this black one, hasn't reached the length of the second string, this way we start the loop. If you're using some other programming language, then your code, of course, will look like this. But the logic is basically the same. The most interesting part is, it turns out it's right in this section of the code. So, what are we doing here when we have our first characters right here? For example, if at index 0 of the first string we have the character A, and at index 0 of the second string we also find the character A, then we end up in this specific situation. In this case, we move our pointer in the first string forward by one position, while the pointer in the second string continues its progression. It always moves forward, even if the characters don't match, so pay close attention to the fact that this movement is constant. Now consider index 2 plus 1. This specific index is located entirely outside the boundaries of the second string. The pointer always moves forward, regardless of whether the character matches or not. But the first pointer only moves if our character is found. So, on the second iteration, our first pointer is at B, and the second is at H. And in this case, this piece of code doesn't trigger. Here, but now we have B and B, and in this case, we move both pointers. Here and here. Next, it doesn't trigger again. We move here and move again. This one. And so this ABC is located here in the second string. A, B, and C. And our loop is finished. And what do we do at the end? Finally, at the very end of this process, we perform a comparison to check if the specific index is exactly equivalent to the total length of this entire string, then it effectively signifies that we have successfully found every single one of the characters. If, for example, our pointer got stuck somewhere here, then our index would be equal to 2, while the length is 3. If they are not equal, it means we haven't found all the characters. And here I want to draw your attention again to the fact that it says deleting here, meaning we need to delete some characters. And this is one of the common mistakes people make in interviews. They try to somehow solve this problem regardless of the specific strings that were given to us as parameters. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, watch the next video where I'll talk about the mistakes people make with this problem, and definitely write in the comments which problem you'd like to see discussed next.